In the summer of 2020, my girlfriend Becky and I discovered multiple wooden structures in the woods of northern Nevada, high in the Sierras. This is one of those structures that's quite large, and after some preliminary research, we discovered these structures are called Bigfoot structures because it is believed that Bigfoot actually builds these structures. While it is not known the purpose of these structures, it seems abundantly clear they are not used for living in, as we did not find any tracks or hair or any signs of living inside the structure. In fact, it would not stay warm, of course, in the winter. But it was also very built very well, very sturdy, very strong, and very large. So there was a number of characteristics that led us to believe that this was not built by the local Boy Scout troop.
So I'm looking at the structure here, and again, this has a corner alignment on it. This isn't a teepee type structure, which you might first think when you first come to this, that this is a cone, but it's not a cone. It's an irregular shape, with part of the back side of it being a corner here with this large log here that seems to be one of the keystones or key logs. It seems to be kind of a pointer. So when we put the log in here and we sort of roughly gauge the angle of the walls here along with the GPS, it turns out that this wall is aligned to the cardinal points. So if you imagine this wall, this side is aligned perfectly to the south. This wall here is aligned perfectly to the north, and this one is pointing directly to the west, and that one facing out there is east. So this structure has been set up according to the cardinal points. So either there were some really very strong witches on steroids that could move these logs, or Bigfoot did it, or aliens, who knows. But here's the structure, and it's made out of wood, and it's aligned to the cardinal points, which is fascinating.
Here we're going to go ahead and take a look at some of the structures and the still shots. That was, of course, me inside the Bigfoot structure, and that's me again. I'm 6 feet tall, so this is showing relative size here. I estimate it to be at least 25 feet tall or so, perhaps as much as 30 feet at the base, so a fairly large structure. You can see that there's a lot of large logs at the bottom, and they are built in such a way that it almost suggests that it spirals around the structure. Again, the structure isn't normal, nothing about it's normal. But notice the spiraling. Also, it has quite a dramatic pose there. Again, you can see the spiraling layout of the bottom log, suggesting this may be a type of artwork or a type of maybe energy collector. Again, there's me looking up, marveling at the joinery at the top. You can see the center log there has a lot of chipping done on it. Not sure what that's about. A lot of debarking on the tree mounts and on the bottoms as well. Here it is showing the entrance to the structure, and you can see on the entrance it juts out much further on one side than the other, suggesting an opening or perhaps even a spiral type energy. As we go in, it circles around and then comes back out. There I am again, standing next to it, being my chill self, admiring how big the logs are and how much effort it must have taken to actually build this thing. I can't see someone, just a practical joker, coming out and spending literally hundreds of hours picking up these logs and assembling them in such a way. Here we have Becky, my girlfriend, on the right, and we have Kelsey on the left. And Kelsey is a PhD student, and she studies paranormal things. We invited her out on this Bigfoot trip here, and she was kind enough to bring her EMF meter and do some EMF testing inside of the structure, and she found EMF readings were 9 times higher than ambient background radiation. Very interesting. And here we are again with a picture of the structure from a distance. You can see how well designed it is at the top. It is it's very striking when you see it. It's almost has a feeling of warning or dread, or it's not a super happy feeling when you see it. Actually, it's strange. It's striking. Here's another example of it where it just looks very out of place. And you can also see in some of the neighboring trees, you can start seeing some of the unnatural debarking that occurs around it. Also to note, around the structure, there was a large amount of logs that appeared to be pushed over or tipped over. Here again is the interior of the structure, and you can see how the back is where I'm there. The front is where the camera's at. The back is where I'm at. It's squared off, and you can see all the debarking again on the center pole. Lots of debarking on the poles themselves, unusually debarked. You can see the joinery, starting to see the joinery at the top. Most of these, the tops of the joints up there had been either cut or shaved, it appeared, and were very strategically placed. These are 25-foot poles. They must have weighed hundreds of pounds. It's been very difficult for one or two big, strong people to even put them up there, I would think. And again, they've been trimmed. I didn't see branches hanging off them, so whatever did this was strong enough to put these up and put them up with precision. The joinery is precision. Here we can see again, a great shot of the interior of the joinery at the top. And it's just fascinating to see again how it's spiraled. I love to see that, the spiral connection of this piece, whether it's art or usefulness or something to do with energy. We do have a suspicion that some of the pointers on some of these Bigfoot structures are exactly that. Some of the end logs are actual used for geographic boundary marking. They do seem to point, one structure may point to another. And here we have another structure, Bigfoot structure, that was about a quarter mile from the larger structure we just looked at. Two interesting things to note about it was it did have a bit of one piece of lashing at the top. There was rope used. Again, these poles that are on it, the one I'm pointing to right there, also aligned to magnetic north. So this one did magnetic north. So it was interesting. Strange feature to put in something so simple, so primitive looking. Here it is, about a quarter mile from the bigger structure. Here's another shot of it, showing just how kind of flimsy it was. Again, about a quarter mile away. Interesting to note that around the structure there was large amounts of stacked felon logs, not cut. They were felon. So unusually, lots of bark missing from trees, debarking, a lot of debarking to see. Again, so these are some of the pointers. Another Bigfoot structure about 2 miles away from the original structure. Again, I call these pointers because they're actually pointing towards the bigger Bigfoot structure 2 hills away. This is one right here. This is another one right next to it, and it was pointing up to another mountain. So we believe that this is pointing to yet another structure. We think that these structures denote territory, astrological alignment, cardinal points, basically a map, if you will. Various types of maps are incorporated in these structures. So very fascinating. And again, around all these structures, you see debarking on the right and the left sides of this picture here in the trees. So this is very common to see unusually large amount of debarking around these structures. Not sure why that is. Don't have any thorough explanation. But also notice the leaned trees. So we have trees that are leaned into other trees. This feature tends to be very heavy around the Bigfoot structures that we encountered. Again, they seem to be fallen in a line, and they tend to be in rows going down the mountain. This is very close to the large Bigfoot structure. You can see the debarking on the tree there. It must be 10, 12 feet up, much higher than your average black bear can climb. Here we have just something kind of fun, just a little bit of a shadow next to the Bigfoot structure. Is it a Bigfoot? I don't know, but it definitely is creepy looking. Let me know what you think it is. And right next to the little Bigfoot structures, we found some hair. Now, what kind of hair this, we don't know. It was very... we couldn't determine what it was. Very thick hair. There's me trekking through next to one of the Bigfoot structures and some of the beautiful ponderosa pines, and finish it off with a beautiful waterfall we came to. Thank you for watching.